We're going to continue looking at the OHL teams as we head into the off season, and right now we're looking at the Ottawa 67's, who were a little bit of a letdown this year, considering the depth they had returning, the veteran leadership. You kind of thought maybe this team would compete for maybe home ice advantage in the first round, or at least be in the playoffs, but not the case this year. A team that just had some struggles getting that consistency and stringing wins together ended up in the final few weeks battling with the North Bay Battalion for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference standing. So for the Barber Poles, they had a record of 24-34, 4-6, good for 58 points, 4 points out of the final playoff spot in the East. And as I mentioned, a bit of a surprise seeing them fall, but we always get that one team that you don't really expect would drop out. But I think at the OHL trade deadline, they had some difficulties moving players like Luca Pinelli. Many thought he would be on the move, but he ended up staying in the nation's capital, while a player like Henry Muse ended up being shipped out to the Sudbury Wolves, although Sudbury is dealing with a situation with Muse right now. But when we get to the Wolves, we'll talk a bit about that. But as for this 67's team, it's hard to put a finger on where this team's going to go into next season. Looking at their past records or point totals from the last 4 seasons, last year, they had 80 points. And remember, they ended up going to the second round of the playoffs where they were knocked out by the Oshawa Generals on their run to an Eastern Conference championship. In 2022-23, they led the league in points with 107 points. So, my oh my, have the mighty fallen. And in that season, though, they were knocked out by the eventual OHL champion Peterborough Petes in the second round. And then in 2022, they had 65 points on the season and were knocked out in the first round by the North Bay Battalion. So typically with Ottawa, you expect a team that's going to be competitive. And with David Cameron behind the bench, you know it's going to be a very strong team defensively. And I almost wonder if that's why some players having some struggles on the offensive front, just the system's not allowing them to show what they're capable of on the offensive side of the puck. Now, your top 10 scorers at the end of the regular season, Luca Pinelli led the way, 37 goals, 34 assists, 71 points. And it was really no surprise seeing him light the lamp. He's just got a knack for scoring those big goals. Just unfortunately, the team wasn't able to get the wins to go along with those goals. And then it's quite the drop-off from first to second in scoring. Cooper Foster, second, 19 goals, 34 assists, 53 points. So you see the offense. It went through Luca Pinelli. So if you could shut down Pinelli, well, most times the 67's, they were going to have some struggles that game. Third in scoring, Will Gerrois, 30 goals, 15 assists, 45 points. A bright spot, though, is rookie forward Philip Ekberg from Sweden. 16 goals, 29 assists, 45 points for fourth in team scoring. He's going to be a player to watch next year for Ottawa. Fifth in scoring was Matthew Mayich, 7 goals, 35 assists, 42 points. Jack Dever, 9 goals, 25 assists, 34 points. Nick Whitehead, 7th in team scoring with 9 goals, 23 assists, 32 points. Chris Barlas, 13 goals, 18 assists, 31 points. Frankie Morelli, 9th in scoring with 5 goals, 20 assists, 25 points. And rounding out the top 10 scorers for Ottawa is rookie Conan Eshkagogan. He had 4 goals, 16 assists, 20 points, and also one of the more fun, challenging names to say. I remember doing the first broadcast when Ottawa was in Barrie, and I had to practice that one quite a bit. Eshkagogan. For the Ottawa 67's. And I think he has a bright future too for the 67's. He'll be a key piece in the next couple of seasons. Now, the first round pick for Ottawa was Brock Chidoroni. He was drafted 3rd overall in the 2025 OHL priority selection, and he actually just committed the other day to joining the 67's. So there's some positive news for Ottawa. In 31 games last season, 29 goals, 36 assists, 59 points, playing with the Barrie Junior Colts. So for Chidoroni, he's got his older brother Hudson, who plays for Sudbury. So it's going to be, we're going to see 2 Chidoronis playing in the Eastern Conference this upcoming season. Now, for the overage candidates, just looking at the 2005-born players at this time of recording, they do have some options. Chris Barlas, he's entering his final year of eligibility in the Ontario Hockey League. He could be a good fit as an OA. There's also Jack Dever. And then you've got Luca Pinelli and Cooper Foster. Now, for Pinelli, he is signed by the Columbus Blue Jackets, so it's highly unlikely Pinelli comes back next season. But for Cooper Foster, he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he still has not yet been signed. He has until June 1st to sign a contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if he doesn't sign, there's a chance that maybe we'll see Cooper Foster back in the Barber Poles next season. And the lone defenseman eligible as an OA next season for Ottawa, Bradley Horner. So they do have some options, and that's where Ottawa still has some depth. And it just seems as though maybe they just need the right pieces to fit going into the 25-26 season. As I like parts of this team, it's just how is it all going to fit? The 67s, they have some depth, as I mentioned, but you got to wonder, is David Cameron going to have a short leash going into next season? Because, of course, we all know what happened with the World Juniors with Team Canada. There's been a lot of fans who are upset about how that was all handled, and then Ottawa missing the playoffs. So I think that's going to be a question mark. How do the Ottawa 67s handle the coaching? Cameron, he has had a great track record. He's got an amazing history. And he does do well with teams that are usually the underdog. So maybe going into next year, it could be a bit of a regroup here for Cameron behind the bench and get the 67s team back into contention. And other bright spots that I really like is Philip Ekberg, as I mentioned, the Swedish import. He has been so much fun to follow with the 67s team. I expect him to take another leap going into next year for Ottawa. And then Jaden Nelson in net. He's also a very promising goaltender for the Ottawa 67s. It was him and Colin McKenzie last year who were splitting the duties, but with McKenzie being an OA, he's graduated. That means it's Nelson's net, and we'll see what he's capable of next year. And I think it's really going to help with him going forward just to get a little more reps during the regular season, and we'll see if he can handle it. Now, for the 67s, I think they're going to challenge for a playoff spot. I don't know if they're going to challenge for top spot in the East Division. That might be a little too soon for them. I think maybe the Peterborough Petes have the edge on Ottawa going into next season. But still, we'll see what happens. I think, like I said, the Ottawa 67s, a little hard to read going into next year. So we'll have to figure out how this all plays out. That's how I see it from the booth. If you're a 67s fan, what do you expect from this team going into next year? Do you think this is a team that's ready to take that next step, get back into the playoffs, or are we looking at another rebuild season? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.